things buried under the ground, things uncovered at sea that prove that we are far older civilization. There's nothing more powerful than the day of the Cazimi. Mercury rules commerce, contracts, negotiations, communications, marketing, selling, also stock markets. Coyote, trickster, Loki, sure. Turning things inside up and upside down. So this is your red hotline phone to the divine. Mercury in the heart of the sun, also Mercury Cazimi.
Lunatic astrology.
Do you ever wonder if we have a hotline to the divine where we can just call up and make a customer service request or a complaint? Well, we do. And it's in the sky on the 7th of March, and it happens to be called Mercury in the heart of the sun, also Mercury Cazimi. The sun is that divine force that runs the whole show on this like celestial game board of life. And is equivalent to saying it is the operating intelligence of this matrix. And so what we could do when Mercury enters into the sun's heart and becomes one with the sun is we can use that time and that day to inquire at HQ for instructions, guidance, or even activate positive magic in our lives. Now, that aside, and this is happening in Pisces, it's happening at 16 degrees, it's happening on March the 7th, and I'm going to give you exact times. The other thing I would let you know about it is that it happens to be a cycle that Mercury does come into the sun's heart in the sign of Pisces on the regular occasions of every 6-7 years from his retrogradation. And the retrograde part makes it more potent and more powerful. When Mercury is in retrogradation, from our vantage point on Earth, and he appears to go backwards, it's because he's also close to us. And his proximity to Earth is this power. And it's not just about snafus and travel plans, as I've said in an earlier video, going wrong. It's about coyote, trickster, Loki, sure. Turning things inside up and upside down so we can redirect to our truer path. That is what that is. But it's also synchronicity and important dreams and magic. And when he's in the sun's heart on the 7th, you can get information, insights, and divine downloads. And you can use the day and the hours around that time for that most important event, the phone call, the conversation, the email, the initiation of something important in your life. So we're going to talk about that today. I do like the Sabian symbol. It's at 16 degrees Pisces, rounds up to 17 degrees Pisces, and that is a Sabian symbol of an Easter promenade, and the key word is celebration. So we also see the themes of Easter, which is rebirth and renewal and resurrection. We see the themes of celebration. So we have a good energy around this degree, and we do not have any malefic energies interacting with it. In fact, we have a beautiful trine from Jupiter in exaltation. So I'm going to talk to you today for your sign with maybe a light touch on some world news. Asteroid Atlantis with the North Node in Pisces, Mercury the messenger. Could we receive news on the 6th, 7th, or 8th or so of the month of March around Atlantis? What is Atlantis? Lost civilizations, things buried under the ground, things uncovered at sea that prove that we are far older. Civilization is far older than modern historians would admit. So very Graham Hancock, Fingerprints of the Gods, what's under the Sphinx, what's under the Giza Plateau, what did that ground penetrating radar from satellites show that the Italian scientists have yet to reveal? So there's a lot going on that could open up those doors with the Atlantean themes for sure. So I will start off today by saying a few things before we open up to the sky and share with you this magical moment. If you haven't before liked and subscribed or subscribed, please do. It would really help my channel grow, or hype the video if you like it. And if you want to use astrology as a time map, the thing I'm vlogging still is why not 2026. Time your best life. Get my guidance for your year ahead. It covers every major transit for your sign. Each video is more than 2 hours long. Here's a PDF overview guidebook for the year. It's only $22 for your sign. If you want to get all 12 signs, which is more than 36 hours of content, share with friends and family, listen for sun, moon, and rising, then go ahead and buy the bundle. The bundle is only a mere $55, given the amount of hours of content you're getting. I think it's a real deal. So other than that, welcome to my channel. I'm Lori Lothian. We're using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, and those fixed stars and minor asteroids make regular appearances. And the minor asteroids in today's video will be Atlantis, self-evident, Alatus, one of the centaurs, which is known for his super-powered, superhuman, super centaurian strength. Okay, he could lift fir trees out of the ground. He was like an amazing powerhouse. So where in our lives we want to operate the powerhouse part of ourselves that's stronger than we imagine. We have Atlantis for the lost civilizations and all that cool stuff. And we also have another activated asteroid at the very same time, which is the god, Etruscan god of wealth. His name is Orcus. Now, well, he is like Pluto and Hades, the god of the underworld, and he can be a punisher of broken oaths. So don't break your promises, guys. Anyone out there who broke a promise, especially political public figures, watch out. But it's also purely a wealth planetary energy. Orcus is one of the wealth planets, just as Pluto is. And Mercury's right across the way from Orcus at the time of the Cazimi. So I'm going to open up the chart for you. I'm going to show you the Cazimi. I'm going to give you some suggestions about how to use it. And I will have taught a webinar as well, or I'm teaching a webinar, but you're probably not going to see it in time to sign up. It's going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific time on March the 5th, which is a Thursday, which is the day this video drops in the morning on March the 5th. If you catch wave of this video before 4 o'clock and you want to attend this free webinar live, just check the description box below. We'll be doing a guided meditation and everything else. And then the other option I have for you is that I will be putting the replay up for free on my website and stuff. So stay tuned for that as well. Wow. Like the sirens here, I'm definitely moving to a new place that's quieter. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to show you the sky. What I want you to do is understand that this is a divine download, an opening. It's a powerful moment of clarity. You picked up, you were like, how the Oval Office can call, the Russian headquarters, in emergencies with the red hotline phone. This is your red hotline phone to the divine. And I honestly say it's a good day for meditating, for paying attention to your dreams, for petitioning the divine for an answer and looking for signs and synchronicities. There's nothing more powerful than the day of the Cazimi, which is March the 7th, my time zone. It's a Saturday. It's most exact at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:03 and 44 minutes. Wow, 33:44 Pacific Standard Time in Pacific Standard Time. So that is on Saturday the 7th. You want to bracket that on average 6 hours before and 6 hours after. In that window, 6 hours before, roughly 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Pacific Daily Time, or Standard Time, wherever we are, daily time, and add 3 hours on the other side. You're in this kind of qualitative magical window. And in that window, you can do that most important thing called an election, launch the business online, send out the emails that you need to that are so important, sign those contracts, all of that kind of stuff. Okay. So have those conversations that are important to you, because Mercury rules commerce, contracts, negotiations, communications, marketing, selling, also stock markets, buy or sell that stock on that day. Don't take my advice, you do you. So let's go ahead and take a look at your sign. We'll get into this story and we shall whip through this next hour together, no longer than an hour. Okay. Now, because Mercury is magical, right? Mercury is magical. I may draw a card for this to go with the astrology, but it'll be a simple card with one line. I'm not going to read from a book. You know what I mean? But it might be fun to do. I'll think about that. So here we have, I just want to show you the picture. Here we have 3:03 and 44 minutes. AM. Oh, I apologize. AM, not PM. AM. Oh my God. Sorry about that. AM. It's at 3:44 AM Pacific Standard Time, 6 hours before and after you're in the epicenter or the egg yolk of the magical window. AM, not PM. All right. Sorry, guys. Woo. Yeah, that's what happens when you're tired. I didn't sleep well last night. So I'll have to edit this video. So that's your magical window. And one of the things to note here is that Mercury is sitting here on 16 degrees and 52 minutes with the sun. Of course, if you want to do a little numerology, that's 6, 7, 9, 14. So that's a 5, which is about change, or it's 14, which is about balance between, masculine and feminine and mundane and sacred. It's the temperance angel balancing the scales or balancing the fluids between the cups. So energetically, it's a balance, looking for balance, but also 5 can bring change. More importantly than the number, and 16 is the tower, sudden shocking and lightning, jarring, exciting directions. And 7 is the chariot, which is connected to the tower as well. So all said and done, we got a lot of energy here. But let's not use the numerology. Let's use the astrology. Let's talk astrology before we do your sign. You might want to see what we're talking about. This is the centaur Alatus, who is known for his superhuman strength. And this is Orcus, which is connected to wealth and also broken oaths that can be punished. The connection between these two asteroids is what we call a sextile, which means it's very positive. They're flowing to each other from Virgo, which is an earth sign, and also from Scorpio, which is a water sign. The relationship they have to the Cazimi down here is going to be important. We call this a trine, which is water to water. That means it's flowing. And we call that an opposition. And that makes what we call a wedge in the sky. Okay, like a door stopper. Wedges are powerful energies, and they give their kinetic momentum to this planet, meaning that Alatus, the superpowered centaur who could lift fir trees from the earth, okay, is important. A bullet passed through him, which was a poison arrow, and it accidentally, he didn't get hit, or it passed through him, and it it hit Chiron, the wounded healer. I find that fascinating. So there's a story here also about kind of dodging a bullet, right? Dodging a bullet in life, but being super strong, having something to do with wealth and things to do with the underworld. And then, of course, the underworld is a place that Mercury loves. Mercury is known to be able to travel freely to the underworld, because he had a free pass from Pluto or Hades to visit whenever he wanted. He was a psychopomp. He could help ferry spirits of the dead. He did all kinds of things. He tried to help rescue people from the underworld as well. So he's got this underworld pass. So he's very fluent with the underworld. Mercury also is fluent with the upper world and the middle world. He could travel all 3 worlds. If you are familiar with the shamanic world tree tradition, the underworld, or the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world, Mercury had all 3 layers of access as the messenger of the gods. So here he has this conjunction with the sun at 16 Pisces. Just so you know, Mercury has had these kinds of solar conjunctions here in the past from a retrograde placement back in like 2006 and 7 and 2012 and 13 and 2019 and 20 and 2025 and 27. Like in those windows of time, he was backing up into the sun in Pisces. So thematically, it takes us back to his other elemental water years. Mercury did enter the sign of Pisces early in February. I believe it was the 6th. I had it written down, but memory serves me. He entered Pisces on February the 6th. Yay, there's my notes. And he doesn't leave Pisces until February to April the 15th. So that's because he's in an elemental water year. A lot of his time is spent in the water sign. And he's been retrograding since about the 26th of the month of February through to March the 20th. So it's this retrograde that gives us power, potency. I already covered that in my Mercury retrograde video. And this is the most important part of that, the Cazimi. This is where it's playing out in a positive way. Sort of like this is this is the bouquet. This is the reward. This is where things are good. This is Scorpio. This is your whole sign Scorpio house. And we're going to talk about how this centaur Alatus may play a role in the sky for you. You'll notice that Jupiter at 15 degrees is flowing beautifully in a tight trine. That is probably the most important thing. Jupiter is exalted and retrograding. Jupiter goes back to last August. What do you mean Jupiter goes back to last August? I mean that Jupiter was literally at 15 degrees last August. So you're going to find that last August is an important time frame. It was kind of exact, I think, around the 12th to the 20th, but just the whole month of August is vibing with where Jupiter is now. So a lot of the sky, even though there's divine downloads and magic and synchronicity, it's going to recover some lost opportunity, some lost treasure. And I have to probably do a new intro talking about lost treasures from August, something that didn't quite manifest that you would call golden opportunity or lost treasure is going to finally come home to roost and stick the landing as a result of this Cazimi on March the 7th. So I'll give an example for me, just as a principle, of what this could be. from my position of an Aquarius rising, this activates my house of rentals right here. And that is interesting because I really rented a new place last July. And by August, I said, I can't live here. It's too hot. There's no air conditioning. And I have to have the windows open. I'm between a hospital and a fire hall, and it's noisy as all hell. I'm going to have to move when my lease is up in June. And just today, I think I found a situation where I can rent a place in June. And you can't make this up because I'm approaching the March 7th Cazimi, and I'm recording this for you on February the 25th. And let's say it probably will be by March 7th that I could finalize this potential relocation opportunity. So looking at this kind of sky, I'm opening you up to the past becomes available in the present with the word treasure, opportunity, expansion, and growth that was sort of present in August or being considered, but did not really fully emerge. So we're going to bring that into the all signs delineation as well. Let's get rid of these drawings. Let's get away from that sky. And I want you to just know a little bit more about Alatus. He happens to be one of the many centaurs who was killed by Hercules, but the arrow passed through his arm and reached Chiron instead. So dodging a bullet, getting out of a difficult situation, that's how I would do it. His name means fur man because he was so strong he could pull out fir trees. Well, that's a friggin' feat out of the ground. And he had an ability to escape from difficult situations where he may have. So you can escape from difficult situations where you may have potential, but you run away before tapping it. Well, I like escape from difficult situations myself, like escape from my noisy apartment. But he says you may also have, the writer of this software said, you may also have potential, but run away before you tap your potential. I guess Alatus was running away before he went to battle, right? So he could have fought the situation, or he could have run away. But hey, guys, if you ask me, running away can be a very good idea every now and then. Okay. Orcus, wealth, and punisher, broken oaths, Etruscan god of the underworld. Yay for Orcus. And Atlantis is on the North Node, and that's going to be a world event. You're not going to uncover lost civilization under your swimming pool, right? It's going to be something connected to world stories, and Mercury would be the news guy. Athena, she's the goddess of strategy, knowledge, and wisdom. In this case, lost knowledge and wisdom recovered, potentially being a story as well. She's also strategic for winning in war. She's the Roman goddess of victory in war. Hopefully we don't see water wars afoot here, but that whole combination could look like news about wars on seas, including the Persian Gulf, right? Why not? Or, anywhere else, there could be war and water. All right. And news stories emerging on the Cazimi on March the 7th. And don't forget, Friday the 6th, March the 7th, Sunday the 8th, those 3 days are for the world news stories to unfold, right? That's when you're likely to see more of that happen. You'll notice a lot of astrologers and people who know astrology will launch an energy into the system, news or information when the Cazimi is happening. You can give it a 12-hour window before and after even. So anytime 3 p.m. on Friday Pacific time, right? Till 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. the next day, which is Saturday. Look for purposeful divulging of news stories by people who are in the occult know. Hopefully, nothing to do with war. And anyway, hopefully. So let me go through your sign, and I'm going to move us forward or backwards, I should say, to Aries. This is not a long video, but please like it and subscribe and give me some support. And it helps the channel grow. I might do an outro with one of my synchronicity stories. We'll see. Oh, come on. It's just that my mouse is not clicking. There we are. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, it looks to me like we have a divine download, Cazimi, hotline to the divine, and a golden opportunity from August may be re-emerging some way around the 12th on the, we can go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but the Cazimi is on the 7th at 3 a.m. Pacific time. And you could bracket 12 hours before and after to see some of this information come. It's really good for divine downloads in your dream realm. Why? Because this is the nocturnal, this is what you do when you're alone, right? So this could be you're sleeping, you're meditating, you're praying. So in your sleeping, meditating, praying aloneness, you may have some insight, divine download about something. It may be to do with land, property, real estate, and luck and opportunity. Thank you, Jupiter. It may also be connected to spiritual awakening and enlightenment, especially if that's something you're aiming for. You'll notice that Alatus is like an arrow moving through the sky and he dodged the bullet. But if you're looking to sort of be a super powered person who can get out of difficult situations, that would be getting out of a difficult money situation like banking loans and mortgages, right? But also you might be looking for spiritual enlightenment energies. And this whole energy here, this water trine with Jupiter involved, it does speak to the opportunity to kind of have a breakthrough in a place that you've been stuck in a spiritual awakening journey. Because we also have a wedge forming with Orcus right here, and it points back to the 8th house. This is one of your enlightenment houses, but it could also be an ability that you come into some wealth that allows you to pay off debt, refinance something, get a mortgage, purchase a home, sell a property, and you might even with this kind of energy secure a rental property, with Orcus saying the wealth is here for you to do that. He's in the house of rentals, but the breakthrough is in the financing. The money is there to do that. That's the 8th house of chunky money. It could be investments, savings. It could be money that you put aside for just this moment, but you have a chunk of money at your disposal that you can use. At this point, I realize I need a little bit more food in my system to keep talking without collapsing. I'll be back so shortly. You won't even know I was gone. All right, let's continue on and move into the next sign. Thanks for your patience. Well, you didn't even know I was gone to have some yogurt and granola so that I could survive. My brain power could survive talking any much longer. What happens when we move to Taurus? Sun, moon, and rising sign. Looks to me like we got this beautiful energy of a Cazimi on March the 7th is going to happen around 3 a.m. Pacific time. God, don't give it 12 hours on either side. You're kind of in the magic window. Come to my webinar. It's free. On Thursday, if you catch a wave of it. Otherwise, maybe I'll put the replay link out in the description box in the next videos. But it's kind of time sensitive. You really want to get the webinar before the Cazimi. Long story short, up here in your 11th house, where Mercury's been since February 6th, he's now, just like he did in the past, please go back and listen to the intro when I talk about other years that this has happened, which is on an every 7-year cycle, like the last one, 2019-20. Mercury keeps coming into the heart of the sun in the sign of Pisces for divine headquarters downloads and information, good news, and a lucky day for all forms of commerce, negotiations, and contracts and communication. He's up here. He's got a north node of amplitude, and this is one of those houses where you can consider it windfalls or pennies from heaven, feeling financially lucky. With the wealth god Orcus in the house of good fortune, it's possible some destined fated financial fortune is trying to reach you. If not, this Cazimi is a really good day to phone that friend, ask for a raise or promotion from the boss, to put something into the social sphere, to enhance your networking and connections to others, to ask friends in high places for favors. This Cazimi on March the 7th will operate as a benefic planetary energy to support those stories. With a trine to Lord Jupiter, it's an ideal time for those of you who are social media Tauruses to put something out into your social media sphere, because you could have a real big hit. Otherwise, it's also a good time for taking or planning trips with friends, or even communicating with siblings, especially the sibling one younger or older, about very important things. In this sky, a sibling one older could bring some very positive news your way. I do want to mention that you have this Alatus, kind of the super powered centaur, who also dodged a bullet and got out of a difficult situation. So you might find that in a relationship to somebody, a significant love relationship, for example, or a business partner or client relationship, you might be able to dodge a bullet or get out of a difficult situation. Or in this kind of chart, so can your partner get out of a difficult situation, especially in their own world, especially if we consider that the situation they're trying to get out of might involve creative or entrepreneurial energies, as well as legal problems for a significant other, and kind of getting out of the way of that. I want to mention that the energy of Jupiter goes back to August, which I say for all signs, and there may have been opportunities regarding travel or siblings or friends or changes of local neighborhood or connections to prosperity and success through marketing, selling, websites, jobs. And if you go back to August and you look back at what was happening, this could be a breaking through to unfinished potential in those areas I've described from last August. And so look for your emails, phone calls, and texts to come in with positive information or news regarding expansive prosperity and third house stories. And if you have had any challenges with a sibling in general, this could really be a positive healing archetype, smoothing out the difficulties through some kind of new information or communication with that sibling or that friend in high places. You could sell a business here. If you're trying to sell a business, entrepreneurial, online, or brick and mortar, this could be a golden opportunity to sell a business as well. You never know. I've seen stranger things. Mercury can translate the Cazimi to stuff to do with earnings, money, and resources, and also entrepreneurial business and the word sell or buy and success. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. It looks like Mercury, the Lord of your sign, is in the heart of the sun, like he was back in 1920, and will be doing 26 and 27, 2026 and 27 in your 10th house. And your 10th house is your reputation and career and visible actions that people notice you doing. It's also things like weddings and wakes and christenings and bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs or any kind of ceremonial event witnessed in the public eye. And so in that regard, you've got a breakthrough bit of news or information that might occur on the 7th of the month, which is to do with in announcements or news. And with the flow to Jupiter in the earnings house and Alatus in the work house, this could also open up a corridor of positive directions and success regarding employees, employer stories, career success, money and wealth connected to career, especially if you do any work from home. This also has some positive breakthroughs around rental property situations and adjustments of home connected to prosperity, property, home, and rental. Mostly it looks like a career story as well, but some of you might be able to dig up the Etruscan god with the wealth from your family of origin. I know that sounds really weird, the wealth from your family of origin, but sometimes mom or dad or someone in our family of origin may be ready to give us some money or pass on some legacy wealth. And it could operate in that regard under this kind of a sky. I kind of like the idea here that you could flow beautifully to dodging a bullet in a rental situation. You know, maybe like you want to move and you know, in the nick of time, you find the perfect place, or you don't sign a lease that really wasn't good for you, but there's kind of a good news vibe too. So pay attention to what comes through is information or news. And a lot of this looks like it's to do with your work or reputation. So you could do something like apply for the job, ask for the raise, make a bold new direction happen in your money, earnings, and resources and job and career. Do something proactive. What was going on in August last year that could be recapitulating now? I have a progressed Gemini sun. To me, this looks a lot like the rental situation where I'm actually looking like I'm going to move. And I think that's what I'm seeing here. And by the way, March 6th, 7th, 8th, Cazimi's on the 7th at 3 a.m. Pacific at its exactitude, bracketed by 12 hours on either side. Could be that that's when I finalize a lease, right? Because I have to apply, right? Finalize a lease, which requires breaking a lease. I'll be a punisher of broken oaths. I won't break my lease, but I won't stay past its lease duration. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky tells us we have a Cazimi or some exciting hotline to the divine in your 9th house of God. And there's some information that wants to come through, or in phone calls or texts or emails or conversations or signs. Mercury can be a good dream messenger here. So pay attention on Friday the 6th and Saturday the 7th in particular to dreams that you have at night, because this is a dream messenger in a dream house. And so you might get some really important information through your inner life, your dream life. This is also information or news coming from a sibling 2 older or 4 younger than you. This also could be something very much about book publishing deals, higher education, and legal and court matters, and news, information, and positive, especially with Athena, who's, when she's not playing the role of books and author, often is the law books goddess. I've seen it in my clients' charts. And Mars is the lawsuit energy or the lawyer fight. There may be some important legal news that comes through the sky as you approach this, a Cazimi, and it will feel positive for you. Because we have Orcus, the Punisher, broken oath, but the wealth god in the third house, there may be some transfer of wealth connected to siblings in general, cousins, uncles, aunts, and neighbors, but also wonder why Alatus, who dodges a bullet, but is strong as a bull as he can pull fir trees. Where do you have extraordinary strength to tap in the sky? Jupiter brings you luck. Alatus says, how strong can you be? And the ninth house says, well, it's a lucky house, many different things. The trine from Jupiter brings you to last August. And this could be events with one of your children, if you have them, that go back to last August. And now that they didn't quite consolidate. Now this thing with a child could be coming to more fulfillment or more clarity. This kind of sky could bring you an announcement that a child is going to have a child. So therefore you could become a grandparent under the announcer in the house of grandparenting or your grandchildren. And I think that it's possible under this kind of sky that something is going on with one of your siblings and the news is coming from and connected to money, wealth, and a sibling. And it could even be aligned with the word luck and good fortune. And you're just coming into the information or news around that at the time of the 6th or 7th of March. If you want to go off to university, apply for a school, reorient towards some kind of new educational path, the answer is yes. Or you could get some opportunity out of the blue to plan for a trip abroad with a sibling or connected to aunts, uncles, cousins, and nieces or neighbors. All right, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. You have a Cazimi in a very sort of invisible place, the 8th house. It requires you to tune into your inner life for a lot of you, meditations, dreams, spirits of the dead reaching out to you. I'm not kidding. So pay attention to signs that someone that you love who's passed on is reaching out to you. Very high synchronicity quotient on the 6th, 7th, and 8th with messages from the great beyond. I would say that possibly you could make some major monetary adjustments to your life connected to land, property, home, and real estate, banks, loans, mortgages, and finances, tax structures. And even to the point, you never know, this could look a little bit like coming into some legacy wealth, but you get the information or news that money is coming to you as a result of this Cazimi. It's not a bad day to invest in a stock. Be cautious, of course, to send your taxes into the government, submit your taxes 6th, 7th, 8th of the month. We do that digitally, a lot of us now. So it's a good day to push the send button to file your taxes. It's a really good day to apply for a loan, a mortgage, or sign on a loan or a mortgage as well, especially if it's involving land, property, and real estate. Alatus, the guy could pull fir trees from the earth. Orcus, the Punisher of broken nose, is also a wealth god. And he's in the money house looking over at what Mercury's up to, and he's in Mercury's kingdom. It's almost like there's some kind of good money story that wants to show up for you here. But you might be excitedly blindsided by it. You didn't see it coming. And even though some of this could look very inheritancy, it could. I see this feeling to you like a lucky break and a windfall rather than feeling like a difficult circumstance. So maybe, it's a very elderly person who is getting ready to pass anyway. I mean, they're 90 or something. All right. If you are a Virgo, this is your ruler, just like it is the ruler of Gemini, and he's in your 7th house. And this could be some information or communication on March 7th, give or take a day on either side, from a significant spousal type relationship partner. Now, because it's also with the North Node of Fate, and it's also connected to Athena, it could have to do with legal matters and information and news coming from your significant other, and it could be positive. And it may involve things connected to Jupiter in your 11th, which is to say, windfalls and pennies from heaven and positive money news. Jupiter goes back to August. So were you negotiating monetary positive developments and long-term love? And where were you last August? With Alatus forming a grand trine here, Alatus might be all about being super strong or dodging bullets or kind of really tapping some superior superpowered strength. I don't know what this could also mean other than maybe something's going on with a local friend or sibling, connected to an older sibling, connected to agreements, contracts. I would also look at this as a house to do with clients and customers and audience and marketplace. It's 10th from the 10th, and Mercury rules your career space. There may be some good career news to do with contractual agreements. Jupiter says upgrades financially from your career. And you might have been looking at the potential for that last year in August, but it didn't really fully materialize. And I'm wondering if you are also going to dodge a bullet here, that maybe in the career upgrade agreement sector of your life, connected to your 10th house of career, you just sort of don't make the mistake that you could have made, right? Like the third house can be your local environment, right? Did you want to move to another company? It's funny, I'm thinking about my daughter, who I believe interviewed for another company last August and declined to take the job. She was headhunted. And this could be a return to that theme. She's Virgo rising, where there's another opportunity emerging in business and job and work and marketing and selling. And it's a golden opportunity like August, but even better. You could get a wedding proposal. And you might be shocked and surprised, but this could indicate a spouse type relationship. Someone wants to propose moving into the same home together, setting a wedding date, a wedding proposal, that kind of vibe. If you work in marketing and sales, a superpowered, very wealthy client may emerge to open up doors of new financial opportunity in your work. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Mercury is in the heart of the sun, and he's magically hyped up here in your 6th house of work. Now, we do a lot of things here. We pay off debts in the 6th house. We get healthy if we can because we don't want to get sick. We get pets. We assign rental property agreements to lease out a home. And we also work here. And so in the workhouse, we see a very positive bit of news coming through for our Libra, flowing to Jupiter in your 10th house of career and Alatus in the income sector and earnings. So therefore, something super powered like pull a fir tree from the earth and dodge a bullet if you need to in a positive, lucky way, and opens up a career opportunity that probably takes you back to last August, where maybe there was a close but not quite opportunity that had emerged for you. And this is coming back again for a revisit. With the Mercury Cazimi, it suggests it's going to bring something from the past, like a lost golden career treasure opportunity. It's going to involve foreign companies, foreign places, foreign shores, foreign lands, pilgrimages as well, weirdly enough, because Mercury rules your 9th and 12th. But it's connected to livelihood and work and opportunity and reemergence. All said and done, this could definitely be an up level in your finances connected to your career through some good news. It could be getting the interview, getting the yes that you secured the job. It could be finding out that there is such a job to apply for. It could even just be upgrades within your own existing professional story. If you're not in a profession because you're retired, because you guys ask me this all the time, you do something visibly in the world that you have to be of service and may also perhaps impact your finances. Okay. So whatever you're doing post-retirement. All right. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. I love that you got Alatus in your sign. So you can lift a tree from the ground, right? You're so strong. And you can dodge a flying arrow / bullet. You have this ability to be safe in places of peril right now. And at the same time, Alatus is flowing to Jupiter in the 9th house of legal and court matters, father figures, and matters connected to foreign land travel and distant shores, as well as higher education and all of that, going off to college. And it's all flowing down to the Cazimi in your 5th house on March the 7th. This Cazimi on March the 7th is exact around 3 a.m. Pacific time. Give it 12 hours on either side. A magic is afoot. This is a house of children. So potentially something going on with your children, higher education, foreign lands and travel, and news and information and positivity. However, it's also the house of your art, your creativity, your entrepreneurial stuff, and your natural talents and gifts. If you've been applying yourself like an artistic, creative, entrepreneurial energy here, Then you could have a positive bit of news that you got the book publishing deal. This is book publishing. You got accepted at your favorite college because your like portfolio of writing or art looks really good, and they said yes. You could get into business school, but you could also look at this as like, what is the arrow here for, right? Like you could also say, well, I move myself out of harm's way, and this good thing is happening now. You could get some surprising news around children that means more than, bigger than. It makes me laugh because I keep wondering if my son and his wife are going to discover they have twins, because Gemini is double-bodied, right? My son can have twins. He's Scorpio rising because she's got a baby in the hopper, but did they miss one in the ultrasound early on? That'd be fun. But you could have some surprising but positive news regarding fertility, children, and grandchildren. If you have adult children as a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, you might end up hearing that you're going to have a grandchild. That would be the surprising news that comes. There's Orcus, the god of wealth, the Etruscan god of wealth, in your 11th house, which is sort of a windfalls house. And Mercury is like the ticket, and competitive energies is Mars, and Jupiter just means luck and dharmic path opening for you. So you're one of the signs that this Cazimi could mean you find out you won some money. Okay, so the only way to find out you win some money is probably to play a ticket or something, right? So I'm encouraging you to do that as you approach March 6th and 7th. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. The story of your Cazimi is in a property, land, home, real estate, domicile, private life, midnight hour, 4th house. This is very lawyerly, Athena. She's always about the books and the lawyerly mind, strategic mind, news or information, destiny and fate, change of home, or renovation or construction or something, Mars. I mean, this is the kind of thing where it could hit you in a lot of different fronts. Certainly, it could be some information or news regarding property, land, home, and divorce settlements, Jupiter. Go back to August for similar stories that didn't quite fulfill. Money, property, land, real estate, and inheritances, money, property, land, real estate, and connections to investments and mortgages and refinancing. And it's kind of also good news if you're trying to buy or sell a property right here. And you might have dodged a bullet here, or you might be super strong because of a latest in the 12th house. And there's something about, okay, where are you very strong when it comes to your inner spiritual life, or when it comes to backroom deals and negotiations that favor you, especially with legal matters and property? What about Orcus, the wealth god, in the 10th house? Well, the South Node makes it look like you might want to let go of money that comes from that place, but this can be a house of wedding. So money coming through your dowry or your divorce settlement or that kind of thing. And down here, we do want to really remind ourselves that with the North Node and Mars here, a lot of you are looking at the potential of activating separation in the home. Someone moves out, you move out, you divide assets in the home, you move or change your home. And the North Node amplifies the intensity of that. So we do have Mars here through till April the 9th, right? So keep that story in mind. The Cazimi should feel good. It should be information, divine downloads, insights, or news that's good, announcements that are good and favor you in some fundamental way, maybe on the 6th, 7th, or even 8th of March. So pay attention for that as well. And with Mercury being the ruler here, or the boss of, your 7th house of marriage, and business contracts, including a buy-sell contract or a marriage contract, we see those themes can play out in the sky. And you could even get money, land, or property connected to in-laws and your spouse's family, and the news or information showing up in the sky as well around the 6th, 7th, and 8th of March. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. So first thing we want to pay attention to is how Mercury in your 3rd house usually will bring you information or news that is very positive in a Cazimi, but it's a very techie house. It's where we are technologically communicating with text messages and phone calls and Zoom and all of those kinds of things. And so there may be that kind of communication coming through very powerfully on the 7th of March, maybe the 6th, 7th, 8th, give it some latitude there. And this communication could be very importantly destined and fated with the North Node, connected to some major life decisions you want to make. And with the third house, it could be from siblings, right? All of your siblings kind of categorically come off the third house, but it may also activate a sibling 1 older. It could also activate a sibling 3 older. It can also activate a sibling 3 younger and a sibling 1 younger. Okay. So those types of siblings may be in touch, maybe reaching out with good news or positive news. Go back to last August to see if anything overlapped. You may have opportunities for trips or travel connected to things that were playing out in August last year, and now it's going to come to fruition. Trips and travel may connect to committed love partnerships, especially from people in the past, somebody that you were associating with last August in a committed union, and some travel opportunities that are quite positive emerging regarding that relationship. And you also could find yourself with the latest. What bullet are you dodging up in the 11th house of friends, allies, and benefactors? Or where are you finding yourself superpowered? Orcus, the underworld god of wealth, in the 9th house is a very lucky house. When you want to put wealth up there, you could get some destined wealth coming your way. It's possible. But it would connect you to probably something to do with wealth that allows you to eliminate debt, or wealth that allows you to secure a new job, or because, Mercury is ruling the job and debt house, and this is his territory. You might get some opportunities for a job, but it might require you to travel. And I don't know if you're going to travel abroad or you're going to travel locally. Both are possible, connected to work, but also connected to relationship. So both are true. And you'll see the news point or the flashpoint of understanding coming through the sky around that time of the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I don't want to worry you, but sometimes Jupiter retrograde can mean divorce settlements and division of assets. And this is your lawyerly Athena sending like scanned documents to be signed. And this is maybe some wealth that gets diminished, right? Lost wealth through the house of courts. So that may not be so great. If you already pay alimony and spousal support, there could be a reduction in the amount of money you pay to a former spouse as well under this kind of legal looking sky here. All right. All right. I am one of you. I'm an Aquarius sun, moon, and rising. Welcome to the story. This Cazimi happening on Saturday the 7th. You might feel it up to 12 hours before and after 3 a.m. on Saturday the 7th Pacific time. This is a Cazimi that is about money. It's about earnings. It is about financial resources. And it's about information or news. This is not a bad day to use this energy in a way. Like you could file taxes on March the 7th, where you could get a tax check-in because Mercury rules your tax house, where Orcus, the wealth god, is. You could get a rebate that's bigger than you thought. I like this energy for you for speaking. It's a house of the voice, and you may choose this day to speak an important thing into reality, in particular connected to employees, employment, job, and profession. It's also really good for information or news and legal contracts connected to rental properties. And it also could open up an opportunity financially that didn't exist before. There's a latest in the top of the sky, but super strong, lifting fir trees from the earth, dodging a bullet in your professional area, connected to Jupiter's luck in the 6th house of work, connected to money. So look for an opportunity to come through text, email, phone calls around March the 7th. Also, Jupiter is back in the retrogradation of where he was in August. So go back to last August, like by the end of August, what were you doing in terms of employees? What were you doing in terms of employer relationships and job? What were you doing in terms of your work and what you do for your work in August of last year? Because you were looking for some golden lucky opportunities, and maybe there were sort of an intimation of it. Now this is back again for a readjustment. I can remember wanting to move in August because my rental property was hot. There was no air conditioning and there were sirens everywhere, which I'm probably going to do now. And I just moved in July. And so I love this place in the winter, but the summer is brutal. So you're seeing the story I'm trying to tell you there, right? I can see me reigniting an opportunity for a better rental property, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like you could say March the 6th, 7th, 8th. It's the signing of the final application. That would make some sense, perhaps. There is the energy of potentially coming into some inheritance money if you're due inheritance money, especially if it's from a former spouse, which is crazy, but maybe you didn't get enough in your settlements in a divorce or something, or a former spouse leaves you in their will. That could happen. And Mercury is also the ruler of the house of entrepreneurship, creativity, and children. So some of your entrepreneurial creative endeavors could also yield some prosperity, some greater financial bounty. And you might have good news about or from a child, one of your children delivering good news toward you. Jupiter means children. So one of your children has good news about pregnancy or conception would be an example. Already? I'll tell you, if my son tells me he's having twins, I really wouldn't be surprised. Let me do math. October, November, December. Say, hang on. 4 months pregnant. So my daughter-in-law is 4 months pregnant. So by now, I think you'll be able to tell if there's twins in an ultrasound, right? But I don't know when she had her last ultrasound. Okay, so Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. It looks like a insight for you because it's happening in your sign. Pisces rising is in your character in the simulation. Sun, it's in your spiritual true identity, but also connected to career and purpose. Moon, it's in your emotions and thoughts, but also your home and nest. So kaboom, something's landing for you here, right? Some information, some insight, some news, maybe a dream at night, maybe an idea, it's going to bring some clarity. And, on the 7th, you might feel it the 6th, 7th, or 8th, ish, but certainly 3 a.m. on the 7th in Pacific time, 6 a.m. on the eastern seaboard of US, just for your time zone. There's kind of a beeline for some insight here. And, it could look like a lot with Jupiter. You could have an insight around creative and entrepreneurial endeavors. Like my sister wants to start a YouTube channel. She's Pisces rising, and she's been pondering, what to call it or whatever. This could be the insight. This could also be about your children, right? And you could get some news about your children coming in that you weren't looking for or expecting. Like it could be a positive development with one of your kids. Go back to last August, think about your children, think about your entrepreneurial business, think about your creative projects, and something is coming back. The treasure is returning. And with Orcus, the Punisher, broken host, but also the wealth god in the 7th house, sextiling Jupiter, you could be coming into some positive news regarding wealth in a child, or just news regarding a child, and maybe they're going to have a divorce. I have to go with that one here. That's because a bit of a more angular energy. Or your significant other is going to have some information or news because Mercury rules that house, and it may have to do with money and wealth, and it may be good fortune because Jupiter is in the house of winning money or just plain old good fortune. So some good fortune money news may come from your spouse if you have a spouse. And the energy here of Mercury ruling your 4th house can be good news connected to land and real estate and mortgages and banking and finances. And it can also connect you very strongly to some, information from your spouse, basically. Could come from a client. A client emails you like a referral or a glowing review, and you just can't believe how lucky you are to get it. But for the most part, I'm going to say Mercury ruling your spousal house, if you have a spouse, and there's a wealth Orcus and a Punisher, broken oaths, some information or news about a partner. It could involve oath breaking or wealth. It could involve lucky opportunities connected to good fortune. It could involve news about fertility and pregnancy. It could involve something to do as well with the latest up here, dodging a bullet on international travel, dodging a bullet on a legal court situation, dodging a bullet on a government situation. That's positive because it trines Jupiter. So there's something good up here as well. This is grandchildren. So children and grandchildren, positive news and developments, dodging bullets and getting out of harm's way, particularly for a grandchild or connected to a child and a grandchild for you. With Mars here, Mars is like making you all hot and bothered, but decisive and action oriented. So whatever this information, divine download news that comes through at 16 degrees of Pisces, and obviously your sun, moon, and rising within 13 to 19 Pisces really feels this. You're going to use that download insight information to make major life decisions before April 9th. And some of those decisions might involve property, land, home, and real estate in some fundamental way. Alrighty, that's what I've got for you. I'm going to tell you a synchronicity story as my outro. So today I'm sitting here and I'm thinking I might want to move into a building called the Raven, where I can get a 2-bedroom and have a dedicated office space, have no sirens, and walk to the beach with a peekaboo and a decent, actually, ocean view from the office. It's an eastern exposure and a northern exposure. There's 2 bedrooms. It's not my favorite. I really like Southwest, but it is in a great building with a gym on top, and I can actually work out there without having to pay my membership and cancel my other membership that I never use, and all of good stuff like that. And the reason I wanted to look at the building last few days ago, coming off my flu, was I just knew that in the summer it's going to be noisy as F here, and the sirens are going to blare, and there's no air conditioning, and all the windows have to be open, and it's really loud, and it's really hot. And therefore I thought to myself, let's take a look at the Raven, this brand new construction building, but I can't move till June 1st. And then they were opening these 2-bedroom units for April 1st. Yeah, can't make this stuff up. And today, the synchronicity is what I want to share with you. Mercury is retrograde on the 26th, which is tomorrow. So he's turning around as I speak on the 25th. And I somehow, when the guy gave me the tour of the Raven a few days ago, like the tour agent of the units that I could maybe rent, I took his information, like we got in touch by text, because I said I'd check his astrology for him. He's such a lovely guy. And he's young. He's like 35. And so we were texting, and I drew his chart up, right? And I said, oh, you're this and that. You're Cancer rising. And he's really good for me in terms of rentals, because Cancer is my rental house. And he said, well, you could move into the Raven June 1st. I'm like, what? Open the units in April and you'll let me move in June? Like, in other words, like lease for June, that far out? Obviously, they're not filling them as fast as I'd like, which is great for me. And oh my God, that wasn't something I knew. I was just like, I can't get out of my lease till June. I was wistfully looking at it, but the synchronicity, it's not just a conversation with him today, but 3 times today, a raven has flown in front of my office window here. Like, and I don't mean slightly, like the tail up and like swooping up. So I'm looking at it going like a rocket ship through my window. It's not a raven, it's a crow, but you know what I mean? The same family. We have crows everywhere in Vancouver, but no, I don't see a lot of them lately, and certainly not flying right in front of my window today. So 3 raven/crow passes is a sign. That's a sign. And there's another sign I had today. It was crazy. Oh, yes. And so I think I'm going to move. This is how I operate, guys. I look for signs. Forget about being a sacral authority in my human design. I don't go with my gut. I go with my gut, add 3 signs. So we have sirens because I have a fire hall this way and a hospital this way. So I'm wedged between a block from a fire hall and 3 blocks from a hospital. And of course, you can imagine the fire truck and the ambulance and the first responders. It's noisy. I can tell when it's a full moon. I know it's a full moon because the sirens are continually going off. This is a blood moon eclipse coming up in 3 days. And I can tell you, I can feel it in the sirens. So the dealio is it's been pretty quiet the last few days. I'm like, la-di-da, it's not so bad. My windows are closed. I hear the sirens, but they're not that loud when I close the windows. And wouldn't you know it, this afternoon when I'm pondering applying for this particular unit and I'm thinking about it, the sirens have been nonstop for like the last hour and a half. I've had like 4 massive 5-alarm blazes of some kind with sirens screaming a block away from, because the main road is a block away that way, right? South of me. So they're traveling always on this main artery. And so I'm hearing the passageway of all of these sirens. And I thought, okay, universe, you're telling me, take the leap. It's not really my ideal budget, right, to finance a 2-bedroom, but I get my own dedicated office space where I can record and set up a recording studio, because you're always in my living room or my kitchen. I'm in a 1-bedroom, 580 square foot, 600 square foot unit where kitchen, living room, desk, it's all in one tiny space. And then my business managing guy, Christy, is telling, oh, you got to get a 2-camera setup and improve your cameras and a side camera and a front camera and get all fancy. And like, where am I going to do that in this particular unit? What are you going to look at? I record in my kitchen. You're going to look at my espresso machine and my dish rack on the side view. There's no 2 ways to go. If you went this way, you're looking at a blank wall. If you go this way, well, you're looking at my sofa, but it's complicated. It doesn't feel like, oh, that's easy. That just feels like I can set up a really nice recording studio with 2 angles of a camera when I've got like no real space in this place. Anyway, you get the whole point. The synchronicities were emerging today with the raven flybys and the nonstop sirens to remind me one more summer here, sweating my ass off without air conditioning when the windows were open and listening to the nonstop garbage trucks in the alleyway, the sirens, the guys with the, what do you know, the blowers and the clippers and the trees and the hedge guys. It's like, I am autistic. This noise drives me up the wall. I don't like certain noises. One of them is sirens, but who does? But it's like you can't control it, right? You can't take charge of it. It's not, if I know every day at 5 o'clock a train goes by, I'm fine. But if it's erratic and an uncertain noise, it doesn't really work for my nervous system. Thanks for listening to my long confession. Let me know how you like this video. The outro is pay attention to signs and synchronicities when you're making life changes that are important to you. Pay attention to your signs and synchronicities the 6th and 7th and 8th of March, especially on the 7th on the Cazimi. Thank you for listening. Liking and subscribing helps my channel grow. I so appreciate that. Take care, everybody, and goodbye. Lunatic